What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, J Mill. J Mill, if you like. So let's get into it. Um, this week, I just want to let you guys know, starting tomorrow, we'll actually have some video breakdowns of the Dallas Cowboys, some of their opponents. Because I haven't gotten the video yet, and I'll have it tomorrow. I'll be able to do all that stuff. Tomorrow, I will touch a little bit on the San Francisco 49ers game when I'm breaking down the Cowboys offense against what they could do against the Atlanta Falcons defense, just to kind of give you guys some visuals on some of the things I've been talking about for the last few weeks that have reared their ugly heads again. Um, but today we're going to talk about the Atlanta Falcons offense against the Cowboys defense. So this is a bad matchup for the Dallas Cowboys defense. First of all, you have Algier and you have Bijan Robinson. The only thing that can stop Bijan Robinson is the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator, because for some reason, even though they drafted him high, and even though he's explosive, he's fast, he has great vision, he's good at making plays, he does not get enough touches. He does not get enough touches. And if I'm the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, this is the week I break my tendency, right? This is the week where most times Bijan does not get enough touches. But you know what? This week, we're going to make sure to give him enough touches. We're going to make sure to get him out on the edges. We're going to make sure to get him in a screen game. We're going to get him in a run game out to the edges, some sweeps, some pin and pulls, some of those things, because there's no way, if the Cowboys have to see a heavy dose of Bijan Robinson, that the Cowboys are going to be able to stop him on a consistent basis. Algier is more the thumper. So if you guys watched the last week game, and I'm sure you did because you're Cowboys fans, that's why you're here, you saw that Jordan Mason was trying to thump the Cowboys, right? And the 49ers were just very adamant about making him thump the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are actually really good at, kind of slowing down Jordan Mason a bit. But when Garundo came into the game, he's a 4-3-3 back. He's got that speed. He's the guy you want to get out on the edges. You don't want to run him up inside all the time. You can run him up inside sometimes, but most of the time you want to get him out on the edges. As soon as Mason went out and the 49ers said, okay, well now because Garundo's here, we got to get him on the edges, it became a completely different game for the 49ers offensively. So the 49ers almost outcoached themselves in that game and almost gave the Cowboys the chance to come back. But, I saw a funny meme this week about talking about the Cowboys trying to lose, but only by a little bit. And that's kind of how I feel the story of the team is going this year. It's like we're going to play hard, and we're probably going to lose, but it's up to us whether or not we're going to get blown out or lose by a little bit. And that's kind of how I feel this game is going to be. The Cowboys are either going to get blown out or lose by a little bit. But there's no chance of the Cowboys winning. Unless the Atlanta Falcons legit outcoach themselves. There's no one out there that can cover Kyle Pitts. Trayvon Diggs can cover their receiver, but Drake London's been playing well, and Trayvon Diggs has showed up on the injury report just recently. So we'll see how that goes the rest of the week. I don't think Deron Bland is going to play. I don't think Micah Parsons is going to play. So we're going to have another game where we're not necessarily getting that much pressure on Kirk Cousins. Maybe, our defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, might have a little bit of knowledge based on having coached Kirk Cousins over the last few years. Maybe he might have some knowledge as to how to stop Kirk Cousins and maybe, help our offense get a little bit more possessions. But I'm not so sure. This is a 1 o'clock game. Kirk Cousins is awesome in 1 o'clock games. So let's see how that goes. And then also the Atlanta Falcons offensive line, it's okay, but the Cowboys don't really have anything defensively to threaten that offensive line. So it's going to be an interesting uphill climb and uphill battle. I do expect the Atlanta Falcons to score plenty of points. I would expect also with Atlanta's defense, because I don't think they're really actually a really good defensive team. I know they did trade for Matthew Judon. I have to make sure to see if he's still healthy, but I expect the Cowboys to be able to score a lot too. But just specifically looking at the Cowboys defense versus the Atlanta Falcons offense, you got, Trayvon Diggs that you can match up with Drake London. But then when it comes to the other weapons, the tight ends, the running backs, I don't really see the Cowboys having any answer for that. So it's going to be another long Sunday, Cowboys fans. It's going to be super long because the Cowboys are probably going to show up, maybe play some spirited football for a half, um, but we don't know what half that's going to be because the Cowboys could show up, get their butt kicked in the first half, end up down by 13 to 16 points. And then in the second half, when the game's out of reach in the fourth quarter, make a furious comeback just to lose the game by 3 to 10 points. Um, if I'm the Cowboys and I'm looking at ways to win, I kind of want to play this game different than I played the 49ers game. So the Cowboys against the 49ers, they played a lot of six-man and seven-man fronts to make sure that they stopped the run, which worked when Jordan Mason was in the game, but it didn't work so much when Garendo was in the game. I think they kept the same formation defensively when Garendo was in the game, but the 49ers blocked it up better. So if I'm learning from my mistakes, I use those seven-man fronts when Algier is in the game. But when, they switch and Bijan Robinson is in the game, I kind of play it more traditionally because he's going to try to get outside. And so I don't want everybody necessarily at the line of scrimmage because once he breaks that line of scrimmage, and he will break that line of scrimmage, there's nobody really there on the second level because you have seven guys on the line of scrimmage. So your corners aren't going to make those tackles, and for damn sure your safeties aren't going to make those tackles, until the guy is about 20 yards down the field. So when Bijan Robinson is in the game, I'd probably go more back to nickel or 4-3. Take those guys off of the line of scrimmage and kind of have them waiting at the second level because you're going to need them at the second level. If you're going to win this game, also Dallas Cowboys, you need your defensive line to have a average game, not a dominant game. They don't necessarily need to dominate the line of scrimmage, but they need to at least have an average game. You need Mozzie Smith up there, at least commanding double teams. You need Chauncey Golston doing what he's been doing for the last few weeks. You need Carl Lawson to have a clue. But it looks like this matchup is a poor matchup for the Dallas Cowboys defense at a time where, let's face it, every matchup is a poor matchup for the Dallas Cowboys defense. They don't play with any sort of consistency. They don't play with any sort of urgency. And even if they had those two things, at this point, they're just lacking talent. That's where we're at right now. Now, if this was the Dallas Cowboys with Sam Williams, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Marshawn Nealon, like if they had all of those players, maybe we could talk about this a little bit differently, but they don't. And so they're lacking talent, they're lacking depth, and the front office refuses to do anything about it. And frankly, at this point, with the team being so depleted, I kind of agree with them. I didn't agree with them earlier in the season. I thought they could have been more aggressive to make some moves during the offseason to shore up some of these things. But when you look at it now and you're saying, hey, they're depleted, they're 3-4. What's the point of spending draft capital for one or two players that are not really going to make a difference overall in the way the team is performing? So I think that the Cowboys, if they're going to do something this week with the Atlanta Falcons, it needs to be based on the players that are there, and it needs to be based on effort and coaching. But that's all I got for you guys today. I'm excited, tomorrow to kind of show you guys some video and we see what we can see now. We can all see what's going on and point it out and have some feedback on that. But thank you for tuning in. You can hit me up on Twitter at JMillerIYL. That's JMiller if you like. You can also hit me up via email, knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. Again, knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. You can also leave comments below. Anything you want me to cover specifically or any questions that you have, I'll take them there. I'll take them on Twitter. I'll take them on email. Make sure I throw them into a mailbag, make it a formal segment. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so that you know when I'm coming on if you enjoy the podcast. But thank you guys. Love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, I'm your host, J Mill if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.